Hi, I'm Joe Archino here with Iona alum and renowned sports psychologist, Dr. Tom Ferraro. Doctor, thank you very much for spending some time with us. I want to ask you, your job is to delve into the mind of the professional athlete, something a lot of people on the outside can't really figure out. What are some of the fascinations and challenges working with them?
Well, the basic issue is this, that they're under tremendous pressure. They're constantly in front of crowds. They're constantly in scrutiny. The media is watching them. The coach is watching them. The opponent is watching them. And invariably, that has an impact on them. What kind? They get anxious. They get angry. They start taking drugs to cope with that. And so it's an amazing field. It's an interesting field. It's a challenging field. And there's a real role for a psychologist to help with that.
Well, you talk about the drugs, and I think that's something that really we see a lot in the limelight. And I think that's something a lot of people question. Why does an athlete who has it all, is making so much money, why do they need to turn to drugs?
Think of Michael Jackson after a performance in front of 50,000 people, cheering fans. He goes home. It's 1 o'clock at night, let's say, 2 o'clock at night. What does he do? You can't recover very easily from that kind of excitement. What happens? They either drink, they take some kind of tranquilizer. In his case, he took propofol, which is an anesthesia, to knock him out. So this is a kind of a very common thing. An athlete's on the road, they get lonely. They're in bars, in hotels. They're invariably anxious and jacked up after a performance. They try to settle themselves down. It's not an easy thing.
And obviously, you deal with a lot of alpha males, a lot of people like in that prime position. How do you get them to trust you? Because I would think with a lot of vulnerable information and with that mentality, it's got to be difficult for them to open up.
It's oftentimes very difficult for them to trust. They can be alpha, super aggressive, or they can be narcissistic, meaning no trust whatsoever. I'm independent. I don't need anything, even though they're in the office, right? So it's very, very hard. Part of the process is called a working alliance. You're really trying to make them comfortable, easy. It's a kind of a long-term process. You don't push in any way. You try not to confront for kind of sometimes a long period of time. And invariably, then the issues do come up, and you kind of approach it gingerly. So it's a legitimate question, the idea of trust, alpha, and narcissism.
And obviously, if you kind of had to boil it down to one thing that's really at the center of sports psychology and what you really need to do to put that athlete in the right position, what would it be?
There would be two things. One is suppressive techniques that most people know about already, pushing down emotions, anxiety, anger, et cetera, et cetera. And the other is long-term work that builds up their sense of strength or identity or self-esteem. And as they strengthen themselves, they get more able to win, more able to withstand pressures. Those are really the two essentials in sports psychology.
Well, you heard it from the man himself. Reporting for North Avenue Nation, I'm Joe Archino.